a federal judge will allow a lawsuit to proceed in its challenge to the Trump administration's plan to include a question about citizenship on the 2020 census. In a decision filed Thursday, federal Judge Jesse Furman of the Manhattan Southern District said the case may proceed based on plausible evidence that U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, motivated by Trump's comments on race and politics, was trying to discriminate against immigrants by adding the question. Plaintiffs plausibly allege that Secretary Ross's decision to reinstate the citizenship question was motivated at least in part by discriminatory animus and will result in a discriminatory effect, the judge wrote, rejecting a motion to dismiss the case. Furman cited multiple examples of discriminatory speech by President Donald Trump in his decision, including a comment in January referring to immigrants from Haiti, El Salvador and African countries as those people from S-hole countries. Ross has said publicly that including a question about citizenship could help curtail voting rights violations by providing accurate snapshots of a voting district's demographic makeup. The suit was filed in April by 18 states, the District of Columbia, and a number of cities in pro-immigrant groups, which argue that the addition of the question would lead to a large number of immigrants not participating in the census, particularly given the current political climate because of President Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric. The plaintiffs argue that a lack of participation would be problematic because if immigrants are undercounted, their communities would lose out on funding and resources at the local level. Share this article. Share it would be particularly damaging for Democrats because an undercount of immigrants could threaten political representation, which is based on population. The Trump administration's plan to demand citizenship status as part of the census is unlawful, said New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood, a leading plaintiff in the case, in a statement. Underwood described the judge's decision as a big win, adding that including the census question would potentially cause a huge undercount that would threaten billions in federal funds and New York's fair representation in Congress and the Electoral College. The judge also found in favor of the government on one point, noting that the citizenship question is permissible on its own, though only if the right wasn't exercised based on bias. Both sides will have the opportunity to argue whether that is what happened as the case moves forward. The judge has asked the government to document how the decision was made to ask the question about citizenship, and that context is expected to determine whether discrimination took place. The census has not asked the entire population about citizenship since 1950, though the question is included on smaller survey samples. A spokesman for the Commerce Department issued a statement to Reuters saying the agency was pleased the court found that Secretary Ross has broad authority over the census and that officials were optimistic they would win the legal battle.